What's going on, guys? BSG Track Fan 88 here. Um, I've tried to record a couple audio vlogs, if you will, with pictures in the background, but I don't do things scripted. I actually prefer speaking live. We'll do it live. Um, so this video is going to be kind of an intro to my review or overview of my Panasonic VT. This is going to kind of clear a couple things up. So it's going to be a quick video, probably 5-6 minutes. Hopefully, if I'm good enough, I put pictures in the background while I'm talking to you. If not, you're going to have to look at my face for a few minutes. If anything, lower or minimize the video and look at whatever you want while I'm talking, all right? So, first and foremost, I am not an expert, okay? I'm not a know-it-all in the sense that I can't build a television, okay? I couldn't take apart this TV. Well, actually, I probably could take it apart. I just wouldn't be able to take apart all the circuitry and put it back together. Okay? What I do have is over, let's say, 14, 15 years of real-world experience. And what that means to me is I have not only sold, not only have been around, but have owned this particular television, a plasma TV, and various other components, home theater, other televisions, computers, etc. So you can kind of compare it to book smart versus street smart. Anybody can take, a manual and another manual and another. Well, this is a pad of paper, but another manual, right? And they can read it and they can absorb that info, but that's not going to help them when it comes to what I feel is real-world applications. And what do I mean by that? Well,
But there's two types of smarts. Book smarts, which waved bye-bye to you long ago, and there's street smart, the ability to read people. And you know how to do that, just like your dad.
when you buy a television, any television at all, whether it's, I'm kind of tired here, whether it's plasma, whether it's LCD, whether it's rear projection, tube TV, LED backlit LCD, LED side-lit LCD technology, an actual projector. I mean, all these different types of TVs, most of those that I just mentioned are kind of gone. Now it's really down to 3 types. In fact, it's really back to 1. It's LCD. Panasonic has discontinued their production of plasmas, which is why I bought, this TV now, because it was discontinued. It's gone. It's not going to be made anymore. So if I waited to buy it, I wouldn't get it. And there's a reason why I prefer plasmas, which I'm going to talk about in this video. But going back to my original point, no matter what television you buy, your average person, you maybe, but definitely your parents, grandparents, a lot of people, you can give them your basic high-definition TV. There's a whole bunch. Let's stick with, let's say, a 40-inch television. Obviously, it's going to be flat panel. It's 2014. I had to check the date because I'm tired. Actually, I saw it's January 13th, 2014, so I kind of looked at it going, oh, wait, yeah, no, it's 2014. So let's take a 40-inch TV, okay? If you owned a non-high-definition set before your purchase, of course it's going to look better. Of course it's going to look not only bigger, it's widescreen, so when they watch a movie, as long as it's formatted properly, as in you set your DVD player to widescreen and you set your TV to full or just, you're going to get the proper picture. Unless it's a letterbox movie like Terminator 2, it's going to have black bars in the top and bottom, but that's normal. It's still the appropriate picture, but that's another video. When you buy the television sets, a lot of people have a tendency to go for the bright, uber colorful televisions, okay? When I look at a high-definition television set, regardless of all the bells and whistles, which I could honestly care less about. I mean, my TV can do Netflix, it can do YouTube, all that online digital content stuff. Honestly, I could give 2 shits about that because I have, let's see, I have an iPad, I have a phone, I'm not going to pick it up, but I have a Blu-ray player, I have an Xbox 360, some of you have an Xbox One, oh, and I have a computer that can all do the same thing. And while I do appreciate TVs that can do, we'll just call it multimedia applications, or apps, I mean every fucking thing has an app nowadays. As far as I'm concerned, when I bought a TV or buy a TV or look at TVs, I just wanted to focus on the most important thing, picture quality. And what I look for with picture quality is realism. It doesn't have to be super bright like most LCDs because of how their technology works. It doesn't have to be super colorful. It has to be realistic. For instance, if you were to take the world's greatest camera on the face of the earth that doesn't even exist right now, whereas if you were to film with it, if you had the appropriate display, it would look like you're looking out a window. Why? Because black levels are perfect, color is perfect, brightness is perfect, contrast. It's very hard to get all of these features right, especially with your entry-level and your mid-level TVs. Now, personally, it's part of my personality. I don't like owning something that is subpar. You know, when I buy a camera, when I bought a TV, when I eventually buy my speaker system, I'm not going to want the very, very best. Everybody always wants the very best. You're not going to get it. But what I do want is as close to it as I can financially afford to, or as close to it as I can get, period. For instance, again, the television I own, as far as I'm concerned, with one model being above it from Panasonic, which only offers a couple different features, and I have sat in stores for hours looking at the two, this is the best TV possible. Audio component-wise, I'll have a very good sound system. Above average, okay? B+, A-, a B. That's what I settle for. And that's just something for me personally. But I've kind of gone off track here, and this is the problem. This is why I didn't want to record just an audio vlog, and this video is already at 6 minutes. So you know what? Let's say this goes till 10. Going back to when you buy a television, okay, when you go into a store, you have, at least right now, it's going to change very soon. You have plasma, you have LCD, you have LED backlit, LCD, all that gobbledygook, whatever. Who gives a shit? It's a television. When I worked in retail, with the exception of when I would talk to a customer, if you were to ask just general people, say, hey, you're not going to buy one, but which one do you think is a better picture? 8 times out of 10, they would pick an LCD, and I would say, okay, why? Honestly, no, nothing against your choice. Why did you pick that TV? And I would look for, personally, I would love it if they said, well, the coloring is lifelike, or flesh tones look realistic. Because if you really think about it, the human skin on any different person, especially when you watch live TV or a movie, that's one of the hardest things to replicate. That and snow. But we'll get to that later in another video at some point. And people would pick the LCDs, and I would say, why? And they would say, because it's a brighter picture, it's a more vivid picture. That answer would frustrate me to death. Now, if I talked to them for 10, 15 minutes and explained to them that the whole point of high definition and a realistic picture quality is to be, well, like I said, realistic, like you're looking through a window or you're at a movie theater, because a projection is completely different altogether, and they accepted it and they said, okay, I see your point, let's go with a TV that's more realistic, and then I would talk to them and blah, blah, blah. Awesome. But your average person doesn't care about realistic. They care about it being super colorful and super bright. That's what an LCD delivers. Even if you calibrate it, even if you tone it down, even if you go into the menu settings, the way LCD technology works, it's going to be a brighter picture. It's going to have a significantly higher contrast in the sense that you can only adjust so much where you're either going to see things or you're not going to see things. And LCDs are great. You know, I love my AOC, I call it. It's an AOC 27-inch high definition display. It's one of the better displays you can buy. I love it for computer use. I can watch movies on it. It's a 27-inch though. It's not my primary movie-going device. That's what my TV is for. So I kind of wanted to get this out of the way. When you're in the market to buy a television set, okay, and forget the fact that plasma's on its way out the door. That's unfortunate. The way that your primary 2 TVs, it's kind of like red versus blue Rooster Teeth. That's it. There's 2 technologies left. There used to be 4. There used to be LCD, plasma, rear projection, okay, and tube TVs. And yes, I know that LCDs have different branches, like LED backlit and so on, but it's kind of the same technology, only not. But the point that I'm making is, I personally feel that plasma televisions, with the exception of a few issues that kind of still hamper the technology or dampen it, but not really, will provide you the most lifelike, realistic, best picture you can buy. When you look at a television set, or when you ask about a television set and what makes a good picture, it's not about being the brightest, because when you really think about it, it comes down to content, what you're watching. And I was going to make a separate video about this, and it's now 10 minutes in, so we might as well keep going here. And if you're still watching, thank you. You can buy my TV. You can buy a $50,000 TV. It doesn't matter. If you're putting it up on your wall and you mount it and you have a great sound system and all that jazz, and you watch a VHS tape, it's going to look like shit. The same the same goes for digital content, okay? The Patriots game last week, when it was snowing / raining, when you watch live television, it's going to look a little bit more pixelated. It's not going to be 100% because it's live TV. They only have so much control over the lighting, over the resolution, over the amount of data being sent up into the satellites down to your satellite box or cable box. Versus if you watch a Blu-ray disc, which is 50 gigabytes or more on a single disc, as far as I'm concerned, Blu-ray is the definitive go-to test your television. I know a lot of people who throw on live TV and they're like, oh, look at this TV. It's like, no, if you want to show off your TV, throw on a Blu-ray disc. Something you know not only has a high resolution, but a high bit rate, a high bandwidth. It really comes down to content. That's the first thing. If you say to me, you know what, I can't afford the high end or even the middle end, I'm going to go with the entry-level Samsung. Okay, that's fine. We all have budgets. Tell me about how you're watching your stuff and what you're watching it on. If you told me that you're going to buy a Blu-ray player and HDMI, awesome. People tell me all the time they spend all this money on this TV and they freaking hate it. And I go, whoa, why do you hate it? Hate's a strong word. There are a couple things about my TV I don't like, but I don't hate it, obviously. What do you hate? Oh, the picture's always pixelated, or it's all stretched. Okay, well, what are you watching? Oh, I'm trying to watch a DVD, and I hooked it up with the yellow, red, and white. Oh God, that would annoy the piss out of me. So on top of what television you buy, okay, but let's kind of forget about that. You can buy LCD or plasma, but let's just pretend it doesn't matter. Okay, now we've already gotten to content, right? What you're watching on it, whether it's a satellite signal, a cable box signal, right from the wall to the back of the TV via digital cable, or a Blu-ray disc, or a laser disc, or a DVD, or a VHS tape, or a Betamax, or a YouTube stream to your TV. Okay, that's content. Now, how is it connected to your TV? Is it HDMI? Is it component video? Is it VGA? Is it RCA? Is it coax? That's another thing you have to look at. Because if you use HDMI or even DVI, awesome, that's 100%, that's a digital signal, it's all ones and zeros until it gets to your TV. And then your TV's own circuitry and processing power will put everything together and boom, you have the image. So as you can see, and I could go on about component video, S-video, all that jazz, but I'm not going to in this particular video. It's not just the television you buy, it's the television you buy, what you're watching, and how you're watching it. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm not an expert, okay? I couldn't sit in a room and program the operating system for a TV or the menu system. I couldn't do that. But what I can do is I can sit here and throw on a Blu-ray disc or high-definition content of any kind, and I can sit here in different lighting conditions and go through with the remote control, and I can adjust your, or anybody's television set to give the best possible picture it can get. Now, you can have professional calibrations that go in and actually change the programming of the TV. You can buy DVDs or Blu-ray discs that have you sit in front of your TV and adjust it, so such and such brightness is across the screen, or you have a little graph, all that stuff. THX certified, and that's all. That's better than not doing it. But as far as I'm concerned, every single model television has its own unique picture. So you can't take a disc like that and expect that it's going to give you the best results for every single model television. It's better than not doing anything. It's certainly better than leaving it on Vivid or Standard or movie mode or cinema mode, pre-programmed modes built into the television. What I have the ability to do is, number one, I have seen movies over the years countless times. Like, I can't even tell you, again, how many times I have, well, that's Cloverfield, that's one movie, but how many times I have seen Aliens on Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, and on the cinema, okay? As far as I'm concerned, movies are your best result to program your television appropriately. Or if you have a sporting event that was filmed and sold, like a boxing event or not a tennis match, something that you can look at human faces, grass, things that have so many different textures and shades of color that you can look at and reference to real life. Things like your grass. You can go outside and say, okay, my grass is this kind of color, green, etc. And then you come inside and you look at your TV and go, whoa, that's really way too colorful. We don't live in, the Matrix or something like that. So basically, what I personally have after working in retail for so long, after working at a movie theater, being the movie buff that I am, and having the collection that I had, and am slowly building up, and just having things memorized, I'm not saying my settings are the ones you definitely should go with, but like I said, I have a real-world working knowledge of picture quality, the way televisions technically work, and how you should have things set. I can't tell you how many times I've gone over to people's homes, friends of mine, family, extended family, friends of mine's family, and they have a fairly decent high-def TV, like a mid-range, and they have high definition, and it doesn't matter what cable they're connected with, but their picture's all stretched out, and it's like, yo, what do you... Oh, that's just how we thought it works. No. So, and I'm not saying you have to know everything. Again, your casual person doesn't care. They just want to come home from work, pop the game on, have a few beers, have a few snacks, and watch the game. And that's fine. But do yourself a favor and research a couple of things, right? Like, for instance, this video that I'm recording in is what's called widescreen, or 16 by 9. Actually, at this point in the day and age, every single computer monitor and television is 16 by 9. It's a big rectangle, right? So I should fit this screen 100%. If it's squished down into a square, that's 4 by 3. If it's stretched and I look all fucked up, that means you're in stretched mode, at least on your television set. Then you get into how when you watch basic television, like an old television episode, like The Munsters, for God's sake. Hell, that was back when TVs were fucking square, but it should be a square in the center of your television. Now you can go in there and you can stretch that and make it fill your whole screen just so you get a bigger picture and you're not watching a square. But that's all well and good. But when you take a standard high definition 16 by 9 sports broadcast, or all of your TV shows these days are filmed in widescreen. It's really when it comes down to older TV shows and movies, because like I said before, Terminator 2, I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. Terminator 2, right? If you watch the letterbox version or on Blu-ray or DVD, even on a widescreen TV, there's black bars on the top and bottom. Okay, Google it right now. Google Terminator 2 letterbox, and you'll see black bars on the top and bottom. Now, a lot of people, when they see that, go, oh, it's broken. Push buttons, and they stretch the picture out, and it makes it all distorted because they don't want to see black bars. When you go to the movie theater, try this. Next time when you go to the movie theater, when a movie starts, look at the picture. Is it a big, almost a square, but it's a rectangle? Or is it very wide and not that tall? If it's very wide and not that tall, that's what they used to call CinemaScope. That's basically letterbox. It's very like Titanic, another example, versus something like Pacific Rim or Jurassic Park, which would fill the same basic 16 by 9 rectangle that I spoke about before. So anyway, this video is now 20 minutes long. It's gone way longer than I wanted to. Originally, this was going to be 5 minutes, but this is the stuff I wanted to talk about before just going over the television set. So, what did we talk about? We talked about how there are different types of TVs. We talked about how there are different modes of getting your, getting your content. There's different modes of getting your content via which cable you have. There's so many different things that go into getting a picture onto your monitor or your television set. But if you walk away from watching this video, the 3 things I want you to remember are what your content is, if it's a Blu-ray disc or a live broadcast like a football game or a soccer match or football if you're from overseas. 2, how is it being connected? Okay, is it HDMI? Is it component video? Is it RCA? Or whatever it may be. And 3, what are your settings on your particular television set? It doesn't matter if it's plasma or LCD. What are the settings? Please tell me you went in there when you bought the TV and you went from vivid to standard or custom and you played with the coloring and you made it look like what you think looks natural. But remember what I said, where probably 7 people out of 10 prefer a brighter, more colorful picture. And you know what? If that's what you like, after you see maybe a calibrated picture that looks more lifelike, all the power to you. It's your TV after all. Hi guys, sorry I had to pause there. Like I said before, if you like the brighter, more colorful picture, and no matter what anybody tells you, and I know some people that are like this and have sold and talked to customers until I'm blue in the face, it doesn't matter. They like the brighter, more colorful picture. That's fine. Again, it's your TV. But if you're anything like me, and you know, when you go to the cinema, you watch a movie, like for instance, I saw, a lot of movies multiple times, but Avengers sticks out to me because it was a blockbuster. It was one of those films where, you know, you watch the individual Marvel movies leading up to the Avengers, and I saw the Avengers 4 times, okay? I saw it, the Friday, not at midnight, unfortunately, but the Friday night it came out, the following night, and then twice in theaters after the fact. And actually, again, when they released Iron Man 3, they had Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, the Avengers, and Iron Man 3, which was a lot of fun. But I know exactly what certain scenes in that movie look like, because after watching it for the second time, I said, okay, this movie, when it comes out, I want to use this as a reference film. So, for instance, the battle or the fight between Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America. It's shot in the forest, it's shot at night, it's shot without any lighting except for the moon. And of course, Iron Man's suit, and lightning from Thor, etc. So, and I didn't touch upon this, but when you watch not just a live broadcast, but a movie, people have a tendency to turn the brightness up or the color up. If you really think about certain shots, it's hard because it's the way the director or the cinematographer wants it to look at, but think about it logically. Like I just said, you have Iron Man and Thor fighting in a forest at night with no lighting except for themselves and the moon. Of course it's going to be kind of dim, but of course the audience, us, wouldn't be able to see that. So they go in there and they make it look differently. You know, they increase the brightness or the contrast, or they don't, depending on how you look at it. But anyway, this video has gone on long enough. Hopefully you've kind of, for this 25-minute video, listened to what I'm saying. So when you watch my review on my TV here, which is it's kind of going to be an overview for the most part. I am going to review it. The problem is, obviously, filming with a $1,500 camera or this $100, webcam, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's not like you're here with your own eyes watching the television. So for me to point the camera at the TV and go, oh, look at the color, look at the brightness, look at the detail, look at the contrast, that means shit. That means absolute dick. So the review is going to consist of my personal thoughts on the TV, my critiques of it for a few minutes, but then it's going to go into overview mode. where I go into what makes this TV great, besides its overall picture quality, which is the options and the menu settings that it has, which I can literally spend, I think I clocked about 25 minutes going through all the various settings trying to make it look the way I want it to look. That's a lot, considering most TVs offer brightness, contrast, color, and tint. So, anyway, this has been a what was supposed to be a quick video, a long video. I'm in the middle of my vacation here. The way the post office works is every year at 360 days from your hire date, they fire you, literally. They lay you off for 5 days. I took an additional 2, so I have a 7-day break. I'm off until Thursday. Today, right now, is Monday, so I have another 5 days off, or technically 5 days when I started this video. So I've had a few drinks, but I figured I would talk to you about how I feel. And this is a very broad video. I mean, I could really spend a good hour if I wanted to on everything we've talked about, like every individual idea, like cables, settings. If you want me to do that, if you're still watching this video and you're hearing me talk about this, if you want me to tell you my opinion on, you know, cabling, settings, realistic versus, you know, general settings, my opinion on different types of TVs, let me know. I would be more than happy to spend 10-15 minutes and do that. I have the time to do so. So, that being said, this video has run long enough. This is BSG Trackman88 here. Have a good night, have a good day, whatever you're doing. And I appreciate you guys leaving comments. So, you know, besides liking the video, if you do actually like it, leave a comment below. Say, hey, I like this, or I like that, or I didn't like that, or I didn't like, you know, whatever. Leave a comment, let me know, and always, as always, have a nice night, have a good day, and thank you for watching.